And there were two chicks.
Two chicks.
One
okay.
on both sides. One on both sides of the Civil War.
Oh wait. Okay. So talk about this. Who are the two different chicks?
I don't know.
Just describe them.
Well, one of them had this fireball stuff.
Yeah.
That she controlled things with, and
so
I don't know what the other one's powers were.
Well, what did you see her do? Did she do anything amazing?
Just sat there looking good.
Go, 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 go!
Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you, my friends, have the information you need to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever damn device you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey man, I'm Brian Brushwood, but more importantly, that was my dad giving a spoiler-heavy review of Civil War. You'd think we would warn you ahead of time if there was going to turn out that there was one girl who had fireball powers and another girl who sat there looking good.
So much fodder for so many internet message boards in such a small amount of speaking.
Yeah, by the way,
so that was actually your dad.
Yeah, no, that was my dad. In fact, we went and watched Civil War because I was out on the West Coast in LA and then up in San Francisco. I got home last night at like 1 a.m. and I got up this morning and I was just like, I got to go see this movie. And so I hit up my dad. I was like, hey, you want to see it? And he was like, sure. I was like, have you seen literally any other Marvel movie? He's like, no. And in fact, I pick him up and I don't find this out. It's after I picked him up that he found out that it wasn't about the actual Civil War. It was not a historical show.
That's not the way I learned it.
Well, and so I brought him out there, and it was fascinating because we'll talk about this in spoiler in time. But watching that movie, knowing that somebody next to me had no context, no idea who anyone was, all I told him is about Iron Man and Captain America, and that's it. It was a fascinating experience, but we'll explore that over in spoiler in time.
Yes, in the meantime, to get you there, we have to do the show called Cordkillers. Tell your friends. It's primary target time.
Heck yeah.
So the new fronts are going up right now. The new fronts are when digital ad companies like Hulu and YouTube come out and talk to advertisers to try to get them excited about buying ads on their platform. The upfronts are also coming up, and the upfronts are with the traditional broadcasters, and the cable companies do the same thing. Used to be that those networks would try to like book all their ads for the coming year at the upfronts. And I think that still happens on the broadcast side to some extent. But there's a couple of different articles taking a couple of different tactics on what's going on here. Wired's Julia Greenberg has an excellent write-up on the health of TV in general, not cable, but the broadcasters. So we're not talking about the Comcast of the world. We're talking about CBS, Fox, Time Warner, all three of which reported advertising revenue growth this month. CNN and Fox actually reporting higher ratings, which makes sense because of the elections. Digital ad spending is rising, but TV spending is staying strong. So you got Les Moonves out there just crowing like, we're getting money over here on the old platform. We're raking it in on the all-access digital platform. We're geniuses. Advertisers consider Hulu and apps and digital spending a separate budget, which explains why they're still pouring money into the TV pot while also pouring money into the digital pot. But you've got some threats. TV ad rates are rising, even as the ratings fall. I mean, you got some news ratings rising there, but on average, primetime is down 7% this season among adults 18 to 34, according to Nielsen. That's about a quarter lower than 4 years ago. You've got a major ad buyer, Magda Global, who does like bookings for, little products like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, moving $250 million from television to YouTube. They're saying that today, like, yeah, we're going to take $250,000 and just put it over on YouTube. Thanks. Which Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube, is very excited about, as is my wife who works there. She said, I'm happy to announce on mobile alone, YouTube now reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds than any network, broadcast, or cable. In fact, we reach more 18 to 49-year-olds during primetime than the top 10 TV shows combined.
Wait, can you say that again in slow motion? Because that to me is, talk about burying the lead. This is amazing.
We reach more 18 to 49-year-olds during prime time than the top 10 TV shows combined.
That is huge. Now keep in mind also, they're taking, I assume, metrics from either the entire evening or some range of hours during the same time that they're comparing the top 10's individual ad buys for that particular time. Or I mean, I'm making all this up. I don't know.
Nielsen defines prime time, so they're saying this is the time of day that Nielsen calls prime time, and we're looking at our YouTube numbers. And even if we're fudging it, it's still, even to be close to that is ridiculously huge. So
sure.
Remember, on mobile alone, YouTube reaches more 18, 49-year-olds than any network. That's just on your phone and your tablet. So everybody's trying to say, oh, the broadcasters are doing great. They're raking it in on TV and they're making the transition into digital. They're doing what newspapers and music couldn't do. They're making the transition. Other people are saying, oh yeah, no, $1 billion more is going into digital next year, and it's going to go to YouTube, and it's going to go to places that are, popping up all over the place, in the Vimeos, and maybe Hulu will siphon a little bit back to the networks, but it is not going to the broadcasters.
So let's kind of walk things backwards here. You did mention that prime time is down 7% this season among adults 18 to 34s. Do you feel like that's a siphoning off over to online venues, or do you feel like that's just a demographic shift year over year?
Yeah, if I could answer that, I would be making a lot of money as a consultant. But
that's fine. Speculate wildly. It's what we do, Tom. Come on.
The viewpoints are that it is some going to online viewing, especially amongst younger viewers and especially people watching YouTube instead of watching television. But it's also, and this is, I don't think it's played up enough, it's also people playing video games, people looking at Facebook, people looking at Snapchat, people reading blogs. There is just more to do in your downtime. And it's a whole lot easier to do it on your phone than it is to turn on a television, because once you've turned on the television, you've committed to the couch. So I think it's both of those things.
Well, and plus also, let's take a moment to appreciate the increased fidelity that watching stuff on the phone is. There are entire episodes of high quality, high value entertainment that live the stories that live and thrive in my mind, that only after the fact am I able to go back and remember, like, oh yeah, I guess I did watch that on my phone. Like I would say half of Daredevil. Daredevil is amazing, but I watched half of it on my phone. My daughter has one of my daughters is obsessed with her phone. She has my old 6 Plus, and she will watch entire seasons of stuff on there. She has no desire to see it on the big screen, and in fact, it annoys her on the big screen because the other kids can interrupt her, whereas on her phone. So it's like let's take a brief moment to appreciate how powerful the mobile market is in terms of unlocking viewing time that was previously shut off.
I just had that on the way back from.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
San
as a matter of fact,
Francisco.
because of our display schedule,
we had a layover in Dallas that was about an hour long, and this was after Game of Thrones had come out, and so I have HBO now, and so I could watch that episode of Game of Thrones on my phone in the airport instead of just like twiddling my thumbs.
And did you feel like you got anything less for having watched it on a 4-inch screen or whatever?
No, in fact, I probably focused more on it because I was watching it and I had it right in my earbuds, and I wasn't even distracted by, like, on my computer, other things going on. I think I was more focused.
So I guess back to the main point of this primary target, I suspect that when you unlock a lot more supply of viewer eyeballs, right? That's what we have. All of a sudden, we've unlocked all this time that previously was not available to content creators. I know that in the short term, we have nothing but winners to report. We can report that YouTube has a whole lot more money coming in for ad spends. We can report that broadcasters have a whole lot more money coming in for ad spends. But would it be fair to say that everything goes one step at a time? Right now, we're reporting on all the broadcasters being happy with the money coming in, but isn't the real winner the content creators, right? The people who have something to sell, the people who are bringing something to CBS, to YouTube and so on?
No idea.
I would assume so.
None of these articles touched on the content creators. I have no idea whether we're seeing a rise in that. But, you could just kind of generally say that there certainly are more markets than there used to be for people to create things at more levels, right? So you can go onto YouTube with a camera and a decent mic and get an audience. And then maybe eventually, if you're successful enough, spin that off into more professional multi-channel network stuff, or maybe even get acquired by a full screen and turned into a television show. And then suddenly you're Tyler Oakley, Grace Helbig. And if you're a traditional content creator, and I think this is to your point of your question, right? It's not like this new service. Oh, it's all YouTube people now. They're leaving us behind. No, you can go to Netflix, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Hulu, and you can find a market for the fact that you know how to do a high quality network level series and get money pouring in for that with more creative flexibility than you ever had before.
Well, and that's certainly what I would hope. It's one of those things where it seems like it would follow that if all of a sudden all of the pipes that bring content creators to audiences suddenly have a lot more money and they're in the interest, they're looking for more content. I would imagine that has to be good for content creators. But regardless, I guess this is one of the things, back to one of our original points on the show. I have been always shocked that there wasn't a bigger focus on digital ad buys, because by the numbers, empirically, they are superior to traditional ad buys. Traditional ad buys, you buy a giant, really loud megaphone. You have a company in Nielsen that says, we're pretty sure you're reaching this many people. We're pretty sure they look like this. And that's all we've had for 60, 70 years or whatever. And now we're in a place where all things being equal, you have two different flavors of advertising dollar spends. You can do the traditional or you could do a digital. A digital ad buy is superior in every way. You know the exact precise target or demographic that it reached. You know whether or not they watched the ad. You know how long they watched the ad. You know whether or not they clicked on the thing to take you to the other thing, and you know whether or not they watch other related ads and stuff. So the fact that we're catching up here, I suspect that this is a momentary euphoric rush happening where ad dollars are happening in both places. I feel like there's got to be a constriction in traditional broadcast advertising as we see this expansion in digital.
Well, two things I would say is one, the reasons that I've always felt you didn't see the bigger digital ad buys were twofold. One, there just weren't as many eyeballs on digital video yet. There were a lot of eyeballs, but there weren't as many of them. And so a lot of agencies just said, you know what, I'm not going to prioritize that because that's 1 million eyeballs. And over here, I've got billions of eyeballs.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe I'll take a flyer if you give me those extra metrics that I know you can give me. That's changing now with Susan Wojcicki coming out and saying, yeah, we actually have more eyeballs than primetime TV. You see that shift is finally happening where they're like, yeah, we need to shift $250,000 over there because that's serious. And that's the other thing I've always said is you didn't get fired for buying broadcast, whereas you might get in trouble for risking money on a digital platform. And I think that's going away as well.
I think you nailed the real takeaway from this headline, which is we've known for years that digital ad spends have had the fidelity over broadcast television. But now finding out that they got the numbers too, that is astonishing. That is groundbreaking, and that's certainly a huge pivot thing. It'll be a few months or years until we really feel the shift on this, but I gotta feel like this is going to massively shift the marketplace.
Yeah, but I think you're right. And I think that we are going to see a slower transition than we did with music and newspapers. So it's not like every network will come through unscathed and look at this, they won the transition. But we are seeing it happen in a slower motion than we did before. And because they all got angry and created Hulu, they created a path for their transition. They wanted to take down YouTube with Hulu, and they ended up creating something that will buffer them against this, at least everybody but CBS.
Oh, no. This is great. And we were talking about this before the show. You described it as a reservoir, right? Where it's like, hey, we see this massive pressure wanting to go over into digital, over to YouTube. We don't want that to happen. We're going to build Hulu as this reservoir. The reservoir immediately fills all the way up, and by immediately over, I mean a very slow 7 or 8 years. It gets all the way full, and then it's like now you have the broadcaster saying, we're full up with all this money we're getting. You have the reservoir saying, we're full up with all this money we're getting. And then you have the rest of everyone saying like, we're busy pirating everything until the money comes down here.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. If you're wondering what's going to happen next for you, it's just more good content available in more good places, at least for now. And in fact, there will be more opportunities for you to subscribe to more channels. We'll get to that in a second. But first, we want to thank you for subscribing to this channel. You do, right?
I would imagine they do. I mean, we're only, 76 people away from our magic 2,000, our white rabbit of 2,000 patrons.
Patriotic number right there, folks.
Yeah, 1924. What, you want us to live back in the age of prohibition? No, we don't want to be in prohibition. At least get us up to, get us close to World War II, or I guess, or maybe the Korea War.
Moon landing would be good.
Oh, wait, good things happen in history too. Yeah. No, what are those? Just head on over to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Cordkillers. And if you enjoy the show, you want to throw us a few pennies, we'll take those pennies. We are not proud.
Here are your two options if you enjoy the show. You can either throw a few pennies to us at patreon.com/Cordkillers or feel guilty.
No, actually, take it back. Guilty's not on the table.
Oh, we're not making
you
it
either
feel
become
guilty.
a contributor and you get extra early stuff, or tell a friend. How about that?
Oh, it assuage your guilt. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Hey, man, Cordkillers was recently featured, or about to be featured, on Los Angeles local news. So,
yeah, there you go. We have made it.
QED.
What the Reservoir is that?
Case closed, my friends.
Let's move on to Signals Intelligence. So Hulu had a lot of announcements at its Newfront event last week, grown 33% of the past year to 12 million subscribers. Remember, Netflix has 70 plus million in the US. Hours per viewer up 30%. They've got some great interactive ads. If you're in the ad industry, you're going to love. The Path and Mindy Project are both renewed for another season. Ron Howard's bringing a Beatles documentary called 8 Days a Week to Hulu as part of the new documentary films section. I imagine Hulu's trying to play that up because they're losing the Criterion Collection. And here's the big one. CEO Mike Hopkins confirmed that the company plans to bring a live sports news and events service to customers in 2017. Interestingly, focusing on sports news and events, because he's like, look, we know you watch all of the primetime shows already on Hulu, at least if they come from anywhere but CBS. So why would you want live sports news and events? And then right on the heels of that, Bloomberg reporting it has sources telling it that YouTube has been working on a subscription-based streaming service called Unplugged that would include network and cable channels streamed live, and supposedly been working on that since 2012 and are trying to get it to launch sometime next year, sometime in 2017, targeting the $35 a month space. So once again, Brian, we're seeing companies moving into that space with Sling TV and PlayStation Vue to provide you an over-the-top cable service with different approaches to it. And we talked a lot on Daily Tech News Show last week about our actual ideal service and what it would look like. And a lot of people responded saying, yeah, but I left cable. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to have to pay $35 a month for a collection of channels. But here's the deal. The benefit of this is that Hulu and YouTube can compete in every single market they want to be in immediately. They don't have to roll out trucks and infrastructure.
Yeah, no. I think that over-the-top networks, so-called skinny bundles, I think are a fantastic space. Now, from a branding perspective, it seems really curious to me that YouTube would be joining in this fight. But what that tells me is that there's market research, and I'm making all of this up. Please don't think that I have any inside knowledge. I would imagine a scenario where market research shows that this is clearly the kind of content people want are this kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, if you don't own a PlayStation, you're not going to consider PlayStation Vue, whether you need the hardware or not. If it may be that you're not the kind of person who's ever going to even run across a Sling TV ad, much less understand their skinny bundles. It could be that YouTube is just sitting on like, hey, wait a minute. The number one demographic for over-the-top skinny bundles is the exact demographic who lives in our space. And we're getting into a world where we sell subscriptions for YouTube Red. Why not do an unplugged skinny bundle? Hey, now you could get all these cable channels as well. That makes sense to me.
I think it's a different reason. I think YouTube looks at it, and I think Hulu does this too, and says, okay, we've got all the people in our demographic. How do we get more people? YouTube doesn't want to be stuck in the young demographic. They want to grow. And to grow, you have to find ways to get the people you're not getting in. And they're saying, look, the Tyler Oakley fans and the Grace Helbig fans and the Hannah Hart fans, they're already here. And the PewDiePie fans, they're signing up for YouTube Red, or at least we hope they will. How do we get their parents? We become the one place where YouTube, the tube of the internet, everything is here. And YouTube already rents and sells movies and TV shows through the Google Play Store connection, right? You can get them and watch them on YouTube. So they just underplay that. They add a live streaming service suddenly, and now they're playing to all fields. You can argue whether it's going to work or not, but it's not like YouTube is a thing that only kids use and only kids understand. People of all ages use YouTube. They just use it in different ways.
I'm not going to say anything you said was wrong, but my gut really says that this is not
wrong.
Well, I mean, my gut says that this is not a play, or if it is a play to do this, it's a weird play, but I don't think they're playing to make their base wider. I think they're trying to extract more revenue from the base they had. The YouTube fan base has aged 10 years since its inception, and so nowadays they're entering primetime millennial making young money stuff, and I think they're keeping the exact same fan base. I don't think they're reaching out to moms and dads. I think they're just figuring out a way to get, $30, $40, $50 out of someone per month instead of $0 or only
my gut tells me the exact opposite, which is they know that their base doesn't want to pay for any kind of live streaming service and doesn't care.
So, okay, all right, well, let's do this. You know what? We were a little bit light on emails this week, so let's turn this over to the listeners.
We were not light on emails, by the way. We were light on emails that shared good insights. To pass along to other people.
Good point. But as a matter of fact, you guys chime in. Hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com. I would love to visit this again. Back to the Hulu thing, though. I feel like out of all of your summary points, you missed my favorite point of all of them, which was they revealed during the Hulu. They don't call it the upfronts, the new fronts. They revealed the fact that the majority of Hulu viewing, 70% of all Hulu viewing, is done on big screens, which means, which I assume means it's either with people with Hulu logins or Hulu Plus or whatever, which I would not have believed at all.
Really? 70. That was the least surprising announcement. I'm like, well, yeah, of course.
Well,
I mean, the majority of their audience is on TV because they're watching TV shows.
I mean, maybe it's surprising because I'm not among them.
That's what it is. You don't experience that life, so you're not in that headspace. But I watch all my Hulu stuff on television. I never watch Hulu on anything but a television.
And I guess that's why you've been so polarized as far as like you love Hulu, hate Hulu, because I
used to watch Hulu on my laptop, but then when I wanted to watch it on my television, I had to pay. Once I got to the point where I was like, oh, but I want to watch this and it's worth paying for, then I didn't have to think about it when I watched it on my television.
Right. No, I'm just surprised with that adoption rate. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I do think that the biggest news is them coming out and saying, yeah, okay, you guys heard that Wall Street Journal report about us doing a service. We're definitely doing a service. This is all we're going to tell you about. We're hoping 2017. And then live sports news and events. And I think that I don't know why that still sticks in my head, but to me, that's them saying we have to make it compelling to people who already think of Hulu as the place to watch TV.
Does that maybe to you feel like the last step towards total media legitimacy? Once they offer those, there's literally no difference between Hulu and television?
Well, yeah, exactly. Because right now they have 3/4 of the primetime television, and they have a bunch of CW stuff. They have stuff from various other cable networks as well. And if all of a sudden they have deals to carry live streams of ESPN, Fox Sports, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to get those deals, but they're trying to. 2017, this was the year we finally got live television services over the top in the United States. 2017 may be the year where we get real competition between them, and that's when the cable companies are going to hurt. When the average consumer doesn't really want to contemplate cutting the cord, realizes, oh, I went from having 2 to 3 choices, Dish, DirecTV, and my local cable company, to having 10 choices, because now there's also PlayStation Vue, Sling TV, Verizon's new thing, Hulu, YouTube, maybe Apple, and who knows who else is going to jump into this space.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, gosh, when's the last time we had a Cordkillers that was this rosy? Just all the news was like, hey, everything's great in the world of cord killing.
I'm telling you, man. And the news just keeps getting better because we're saving the planet in our Gear Up segment.
What? I don't believe this.
At the expense of your cable box.
Go, hold on, Tom, real quick. Time
Yeah.
out. Let me just, I want you to try to put the most negative spin you can on this story. I want you to really sell it as if somehow this is a terrible thing.
Yeah. So in a wasteful move that is directed solely at taking down the cable companies for a mere gimmick, Mohu, which already sells antennas for an overpriced amount of $50, is selling you an antenna, which, by the way, pretty much steals money out of the pockets of the broadcasters by not paying them directly and only watching ads. Will sell you an antenna called the Relief for $50. $50 for an antenna made from recycled set-top boxes. So they take these set-top boxes, encouraging people to get rid of their set-top boxes, essentially, and they recycle the plastic of the set-top boxes. A pound of plastic from the old boxes can make up to 40 of these clamshell bases, not even for the antenna, just for something to set the antenna in, which most people don't even use. Most people mount them, so it's kind of wasteful already, and they call it the Relief, because they're taking set-top boxes, and turning them into over-the-air antennas.
Tom, I want to pretend for even 1 second you are remotely convincing in this story, but you are not. I think this is nothing but completely rad, dude.
There's nothing wrong with
yes,
it.
it's absolutely a PR marketing gimmick, but isn't it great? What was the headline on this article? Mohu is stomping on the graves of set-top boxes with its Relief antenna.
Yeah, that's the Verge headline.
That's great, dude.
That is not how Mohu is putting it. By the
No.
way. It's just the Verge.
But I mean, let's face it, they're kind of stomping on the graves. Little bit.
It's a gimmick. I mean, that is the big negative here. If you're going to come out with a negative, is like, this is gimmicky. Like there really isn't. I mean, okay, I guess you're recycling some plastic and that's cool. I'm not going to ding you for it, but it's really just a Relief antenna with a nudge, with the like, ha. But I figured a lot of people would like this. $50 for the antenna, and you get to know that maybe your old cable box, you don't know, could be right in there.
Is $50? Is that a comparable price to a previous antenna?
I
that's
want to
available
say
now?
that the previous Leaf that I bought was $39.99, so I think it's certainly not in the outrageous realm.
Okay.
Yeah, they new ones sell for $40. The Mohu Leaf 30. They have different models too. There's the Curve 50 that's $60. So
Heck yeah,
depends
man.
on which model you get. All right, listen, folks, I can't do this forever. Eventually, Cordkillers is going to be a young man's game, and in 20 or 30 years, I'm going to have to step aside for the next generation.
Tom.
When that day happens, Brian, I want to have residual incomes from a successful book. And the first
all right, look, I'm sorry. This is not my place. I don't normally do this, Tom.
What?
And I'm sorry.
What?
We're in the middle of a live show. It's not
Yeah,
my
I know.
place. But people ask me for advice all the time, and I say, what you need to do is you need to diversify. You have an audience. You have a lot of people who appreciate what you do on Daily
feel
Tech
that.
News Show, Current Geek, Cordkillers, Sword and Laser. You've got experience as an experienced author. What you need to do, Tom, is you need to write a compelling time travel novel, and you need to release it on InkShares. The great thing about InkShares is that they're a legitimate platform, and all you have to do is get enough people to pre-order your book, and you will have a legit-ass published book. Now, I know you don't think you can do it. I think you can.
Yeah.
In fact, I bet if you started as little as a month ago, you'd be over halfway there by now.
hold on a second.
What?
I
What?
just time traveled and did everything you said.
Oh!
And now I am just a few over 100 away from publishing Pilot X
Holy
on
cow!
inkshares.com. Thank you so much, Brian.
Look at that. Go to inkshares.com/books/pilot-x and you can pre-order Tom Merritt's Pilot X about a time traveler. And join, how many people? 605 out of 750? You're like in the last stretch.
Oh, yeah, man.
How much
We're
time do you
barreling
got?
on. Like, now's the time to get on the bandwagon. Because if you were like, I don't know if it's going to get published, Tom. I don't know if I want to jump on. It's gonna get there, and thank you to everybody who has already pre-ordered. You guys are the best, and I'm really excited to get this actually fully published, and I think it might actually happen. So if you want a book about a time traveler who just wants to fly his time ship but gets caught up in a dimensional war and has to save the universe, check out the sample chapters. and give a pre-order. Inkshares.com, search for Pilot X.
Yeah, you guys head over to Inkshares. We'll be over on the front lines.
That's where we always are.
Front lines.
Spotify announced it will bring out 12 original TV series about music and pop culture. Spotify, the music streaming service, will bring out 12 original TV series about music and pop culture. Episodes will be less than 15 minutes long for iOS and Android in the US, UK, Germany, and Sweden. Among the shows will be Rush Hour from Russell Simmons, the hip-hop legend. There's also Landmark, a doc series based on the Music History podcast, and Trading Playlists. So it's endemic, right? It's music-related shows for the music listening audience.
All right, so here's the real fact of what happens is we're entering a world where there are no gatekeepers, where instead the only gatekeepers are people who have a brand that matters in your mind that you trust. And that's why we're seeing so much money going to Hulu, Netflix, Hulu and YouTube and all the online distributors, is because they have brand value. This is why we're seeing YouTube, somebody who traditionally does free short cat videos, all of a sudden offering a cable offering, is because they have massive presence in the mind. This seems to me like an effective way to monetize the brand value of Spotify. Even though it's off their core brand, it makes sense that they would do this. Does it seem that weird to you, Tom?
I don't know. I mean, Spotify is doing well enough they can afford this gamble. So it's probably not that weird. I'm not sure how many people want to watch video on Spotify. And that's the kind of thing that dumb people say before an amazing idea really takes off. But I still believe it. Like, they're doing the right thing and doing music stuff, but most people want to listen to Spotify with the earphones on and their eyes looking at someone else. So you're going to have to change or looking at something else.
Dude,
anyway.
by the way, Tom WSMF in the chat nails it, saying Spotify going down the MTV route, soon actual music will be secondary. Okay. Yeah, worked out.
No. I mean, I think maybe that's the route they might be wanting to take, but in a world of Vimeo, no. Well, I'm sorry, not Vimeo. What's the what's the one that does all the music?
Somebody does music?
Vivo, thank you.
but you know what? Like, thinking about this is more of Spotify, maybe not so much moving into MTV, but doing what Apple Music and Tidal already do, is by taking a music service and tying video content into it. It's just weird because Spotify doesn't have a video element like Tidal and iTunes inherently had. Until now. Dun, dun, dun.
Sources tell Recode that Disney would like to acquire 1/3 of BAMTech, formerly known as MLB Advanced Media, the backend for MLB, ESPN, and HBO Now, among others. MLB is looking to spin the company out and is talking to other potential buyers as well. This is kind of a weird one because I don't know how it affects any of us, like on the ground, outside of to say that the more robust backends we have for online video distribution, more likely, because I got to tell you, in general, my experience with HBO Now has been way better than HBO Go.
Well, Major League Baseball Advanced Media, or BAMTech now, is well known for being solid. Now, they had some hiccups with the NHL. Well, some of those are apparently the NHL's fault, but what is concerning is, well, wait a minute, if Disney gets their claws in this, is that going to be a problem for competitors of Disney? Is Fox Sports going to suffer? You know, it is interesting to know, like, who's going to control the most solid streaming platform, while we were talking earlier about everybody wanting to get into streaming and HBO themselves saying, yeah, our own service, HBO Go, isn't good enough for us to do an online-only streaming program, so we went to BAMTech for that. That's going to be big to see who ends up controlling this.
Yep.
Ellen DeGeneres, in partnership with Warner Brothers, is launching the Ellen Digital Network with YouTube star Tyler Oakley making shows for web and TV, and the folks behind Damn Daniel building an original series for Snapchat. Lots of ways you could go with this. It's interesting that Ellen DeGeneres getting into a digital network. Also interesting that it's just like, we're going to make things for everyone, including Snapchat.
Yeah, okay. So there's actual money to spend, and then there's credit to spend. And when you're Ellen DeGeneres, you are sitting on a figurative Mount Olympus of both. And it seems like, of course, you would do something like this. I don't know if this will pay off. I don't know that it'll go anywhere. I also don't know that it matters that it goes anywhere. Like, yes, of course, take this gamble, Ellen. Go for it.
And she has the kind of platform that Oprah used to have when Oprah was smaller. Oprah's way huger now. But she can tell people about this and get a lot of people to try it that might not otherwise.
Yep. NBC's streaming comedy service called SeeSo is available as an add-on for Amazon Prime. It's the same $3.99 you pay anywhere else, except for it's on Amazon Prime. I gotta tell you, this by the numbers should not matter, but we've talked before about the frustrations of the balkanization of all these services, and it's like, I'm not gonna install another app. I'm not gonna do another thing. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, I can fold this into a thing I already do, and I just press a button and it's with that other thing. I mean, I had never ever considered signing up for SeeSo until just now.
And I had SeeSo for a hot minute. I'll probably get it again since there's been some more original content. But the web client was not great. The mobile app could be better. But if you're telling me I can watch those through the Amazon app or on my TV, which SeeSo does not have, that for no
that changes
extra,
everything.
that changes it. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, just going to the Amazon page of SeeSo, I was like, oh, they have that? Like, it was just a better presentation of all the different things that they have. Netflix's latest app for iOS and Android will allow you to choose what quality of video it streams when using your cellular data connection. Don't forget, Netflix admitted back in March that it automatically limits video quality for AT&T and Verizon customers on cell data in order to save bandwidth for them. It will continue to do so, but customers can override that choice if they want. Settings are described by the number of hours you stream per gigabyte. So it's not high, medium, low. It just says if you want to do 20 hours per gigabyte or 40 hours per gigabyte, this is what we're going to compress it at. And connections are unaffected over Wi-Fi. Once you're over Wi-Fi, it gives you as much as it can.
Yeah, man, we had teased this feature as upcoming, but now that it's here, it's so great. I get to be that old man dad gathering the kids together and saying, now listen, kids, we're not made of money. I want all of you to pull out your cell phones right now. We're all going to change Netflix streaming over cellular connection to low.
There's a bit shortage, kids, and we've got to beat Hitler. So we need to save all the bits we. Yeah. No.
I mean, but again, I don't know. In some way, this makes me feel really good. And here's the best part about it: is it gives a sense, even if nothing actually changed, because of course the original story was that they were restricting the bandwidth, basically making the obvious decision for different users, and then now they're putting it in their hands. The mere illusion of control here, even though I'm going to pick the same thing they were already doing, is fantastic. It makes me feel really good. Like, finally I could tell the kids, yeah, you can watch Netflix while you're out playing.
By the way, Don DeGosa just wrote Bitler in the chat room.
We have to defeat Bitler.
Yeah, we got one more.
That's me. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings told VentureBeat that he thinks VR will be great for gaming, but not for lean-back TV shows. You're exhausted after 20 minutes, Chief Content Officer Ted Sorrento said. Quote, I can't imagine putting on a VR headset while sitting on the couch with my wife for 2 hours and just disappearing. Of course, the market isn't nearly as big yet either. No, I think this is 100% the right call for Netflix to make. Netflix has done for 15, 20 years now. They've done an exquisite job of figuring out exactly what their market is, exactly what they're capable of delivering to the letter of their promise, and doing exactly and only those things. So it makes sense that they would do this.
I mean, it feels like they're throwing shade on VR and saying, well, Hulu and Amazon all getting into VR. Netflix is doing the smart thing and saying, we'll wait till there is a proven product in VR that people want to do, and then we'll start commissioning it. We didn't invent serial drama either. We waited 40 to 50 years to get into that business, and we're doing pretty good with House of Cards and Orange is the New Black.
And also, I think they did a really good job of acknowledging their brand is binging and laid back. They don't, ain't nobody says VR and chill. They say Netflix and chill, because it's great to turn it on and just have it on, and it's easy.
Now, granted, the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive both can be done sitting in a chair, but you were trying out the HTC Vive last week, and it is a lot more fun to walk around and move with it.
It was intense. It was a lot. It was intense. I mean, that's a discussion for another show. But yeah, no. After experiencing the Vive and having a taste of even Google Cardboard or whatever, all of it is so engaging and so taxing that I don't blame Netflix 1 second for saying not what we're about right now.
All right, let's move on and see what's under surveillance.
It's all about location.
And this segment of the show keeps getting bigger and bigger all the time. There's just so much content coming out. So I'm just telling older fans of the show and of the frame rate show before it, we won't be covering every show that comes to every platform anymore, but we'll do our best to pick the stuff we know that everybody's going to be interested in. Netflix has ordered a series based on the 2014 film Dear White People, a satire of the experience of minority students in Ivy League schools. The movie's creator, Justin Simien, is writing the series and will direct the first episode. I haven't seen this, but I've heard a lot of buzz around it.
Dude, I have not seen that movie, but I saw the ad. You know, in the ad, it's one of those things where it's like just watching the 3-minute trailer really gives you a sense of what the show's about. And I got to tell you, I probably will watch the TV show because it does seem like it's got an awesome opportunity to keep on going and keep on telling interesting stories.
CBS has confirmed that its new Star Trek series will release 1 episode a week on CBS All Access, not all at once, so it's not binging the way Netflix and Amazon usually do. It is coming in January 2017. Here's what I'm afraid of, Brian. It's not only going to be 1 episode a week, but it's going to be what they do with their currently airing shows, and they're only going to keep 5 or 6 of them available at a time.
I swear if they do that, they've got no chance in the next couple of years to make CBS All Access happen.
That's the problem. Like, I get the logic of like, yeah, we put 4 or 5 up for the currently subscribing people, and then those who want to catch up, you go buy them somewhere like Vudu or Amazon or whatever.
That's triple dipping. You don't get a subscription fee and cram ads in my face and not make the back catalog of episodes available. I'm sorry, CBS. I know I'm imagining a future version of you, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in this future possible reality of what you might become. You're better.
They are the embodiment of disappointment.
Yes.
You are disappointment. Netflix is doing 10 episodes of a reality show called Ultimate Beastmaster. You heard that right. Netflix doing a reality show. Remember when they said, yeah, we don't do reality shows. They don't do well. Keep that in mind when they say, we don't do VR. It's not for us. EPs will be David Broom, who does The Biggest Loser, and Sylvester Stallone. The idea is that 12 people from 6 countries take on an obstacle course called The Beast, hence Beastmaster. Host will be localized based on the 6 countries. I think that's really interesting. You're going to have 6 different versions of this show based on the team. There's like 6 teams from 6 different countries. And by the way, Chelsea Handler's talk show. Remember when they said they weren't going to do talk shows? Chelsea Handler's talk show, Chelsea, comes to Netflix May 11th.
So what you're saying is that Netflix is open to doing reality shows. Like maybe if they had, a reality show that was on National Geographic and it did really well for them, maybe they'd be interested.
I'm saying Netflix, if you're looking at this kind of programming,
I'm just
you don't
saying.
have to stop here. That's all.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people asking me about a second season of Hacking the System. That's all I'm saying.
What a great idea. Didn't even realize that, but that fits perfectly in. Yeah.
Just saying.
Amazon picked up the rights to stream Dr. Thorne, a British 3-part miniseries based on the novel by Anthony Trollope. And if you're wondering why I'm mentioning it at all, it's scripted by Downton Abbey's Julian Fellows. And I know a lot of Downton Abbey fans are out there. So that one's coming to Amazon.
Yeah. All I could do is do a Dr. Thorne. That's all I got.
YouTube original Bad Internet, made by the College Humor folks, is a 10-episode series that seems like a kind of a parody of Black Mirror. It's got kind of sci-fi premises, a different story every episode. Premieres on YouTube Red May 25th. And the trailer out today actually looks pretty funny. There's some stars in there. People Will Arnett's in it, stuff like that.
Hey, can I share, like, for the first time I actually saw the potential for YouTube Red? I understood it on a theoretical level.
Sure.
But recently I played a song on my phone, and then normally what you used to be able to do is you start playing a song on YouTube, you close it, and you click the little thing on your earbuds, and it starts playing again. There, right? This time it didn't do that, and I was like, what's going on? It says, hey, get YouTube Red, and you can play music without bothering to play the video, because we know you're here for the music, because we kind of have all the music on YouTube. It's a messy licensing thing, but you can get there. I don't know, man. Between that and these originals, I might have to dip into the YouTube Red.
Well, and that's where I think the YouTube Red, I think that's probably what the YouTube Red strategy is that no one of these things is worth $10 a month, but you'll start to find a couple of them here and there where you realize, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I will jump in.
They're also doing tricky things like for content creators. When you log into the creator page on YouTube, it's got 4 main tabs. One of them is minutes views, one of them is number of views, and one I forget the other one. But the fourth one is number or hours viewed by YouTube Red. Like they have their own category on there.
Yeah. ComicCon HQ launched in beta last week, and you can sign up now if you didn't realize that for free through July 26th. So you're going to get through the first Comic-Con if you sign up right now. Go to comic-conhq.com. If it asks for a beta code, there's a button there that says generate a beta code. I found mine in the free comic book day version of Suicide Squad. If you've got that, there's a code in there. But it's pretty much any code. You could just make one right there.
So how fast do you think they drop Comic-Con and make it all cons? Because
it's Comic-Con HQ, and it will still cover other cons. But Comic-Con is the big brand. Everyone thinks the other Comic-Cons are Comic-Con. So why would you drop that brand? It's a huge brand.
Oh, fair enough. I didn't think about it from that perspective. I was thinking about it in terms of that's just one con, but you already have New York Comic-Con, Austin Comic-Con, and so on. Yeah.
The way they're pitching it, and by the way, this is another thing. This isn't coverage of cons, although that is a part of it. Coverage of cons is like the news programming on this. This is, what if Comic-Con were every day of the year?
Yeah.
So Adam Sessler's interviewing an astrophysicist about science fiction policies, and you've got a gaming review show. Reruns of ALF, by the way, are in there. Like it works. It works like a Netflix. Like you just go in and find stuff you want to watch.
Yes, and I understand the need to fill out the catalog, but I can't wait until they get beyond.
Why do you get upset when somebody puts something in that you don't like? Just don't watch it. It doesn't take away from your experience.
But that's just it. It's because nobody watches it because they're doing it like it's a transparent announcement.
Step outside your body for a moment, Brian Brushwood. Not everyone hates ALF like you.
No. Okay, I hated it when I forget the name of the cable network. There was a cable network I did some stuff for. That their gimmick was they would play content and then they had a system where you could record yourself and then it would show up on cable and you'd be like, look, I'm on TV, holy cow. And they filled out half their catalog with like Batman reruns. And it was like a transparent announcement that, once you start putting Batman or ALF reruns, it's like, and we had some space in our catalog. It's like, I would rather you didn't even do that.
This isn't Batman reruns filling up space. This is, hey, for people who like ALF, it's right there. For people who don't like ALF, it does nothing to you. It does not take away anything from you.
I think it does take something away. I think I would be more excited about this if I didn't hear that the random stapled on and ALF. Like how many things are made better?
Comic-Con isn't out there promoting it. That was me.
I know. But still, like how many things are made better by stapling on the phrase, also all the ALF episodes at the end? Like if I ordered a pizza that came with all the ALF episodes, I wouldn't be excited.
It's more like the ALF fan that logs into Comic-Con HQ for the other great content or whatever, great content. Maybe it's not that great. I don't know. But you log in and sees, oh my God, they have ALF too. This is great. It's the little special surprise package in there.
I want to know one person write us and say you're the guy who was on the edge of getting this service and then you found out they had ALF and you were like, well, now I'm in.
You are definitely going to hear from them. And that is a look at what's under surveillance. What have you been watching? We've both been watching exactly the same thing.
This was like a big obligation fulfilling week where it's like we went out, we did Night Attack Live. I was on DTNS. We shot a segment for KTLA. We did a lot of stuff. And then I got home and it was like, I got to watch everything. So I took my dad to watch Civil War this morning. Also watched Justified. Also watched Game of Thrones. Have a lot of thoughts on all of the above.
I will say we did a couple of things that I didn't put in here that I forgot is that we've been keeping up on Flash, Once Upon a Time, Arrow, and I'm still enjoying all of those. And Silicon Valley. I don't know why I didn't put that in here. I'm going to put that in here now. Silicon Valley, I feel like, is still really funny. And what's funny is a lot of people who work in Silicon Valley are not finding this season quite as funny. And I think maybe it's hitting a little too close to home.
Yeah, not that you're talking about anyone in particular, but I can understand why many Silicon Valley types might do
because
that.
this is they're finally inside a startup company in an office building, and it's like a lot of this stuff. It's not that it's hitting too close to home, like they don't want to be made fun of. They're like, no, that's not the way it actually happens. Like it's that close to reality.
Oh, so it's like the uncanny valley of their actual day-to-day existence. Interesting.
So Bryce, what have you been on the lookout for?
Hey, we got a letter from Dennis. He wrote in a few months back, and I'll get back to why we're covering it now. He wanted to write in about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. This is a CW show. He wrote, I really have to recommend this one show on the CW, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It follows Rebecca, a large firm lawyer in New York who has hit a rut in her life. As she is contemplating her life, she runs into a childhood boyfriend and remembers the last time that she was truly happy was with him. She gives up her life to follow him to California, only to find out he's got a girlfriend. She embarks on all the tropes of a crazy ex-girlfriend, and hilarity ensues. But the thing that makes this show unique is that it's also a musical. It has really clever writing and entertaining musical numbers. It is crafted and stars Rachel Bloom, who is also a writer on Robot Chicken. I know the season is coming to an end, but you can watch some of the episodes on Hulu and CW's website, and it's well worth buying the series from the other sources. If you get a chance, everyone should check it out. Now, the reason, so he alludes to Hulu only had like a 5-episode rolling catalog, much like we talked about potentially the Star Trek thing. So it's real hard to be like, well, you could start the season in the middle of it. But iTunes was doing a promotion with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to offer the whole season for free.
What?
To own, not even to rent or stream. Like you could go in and you could own it. Now that promotion, or that part of that promotion is
all you had to do is give them the personal phone number of your ex-boyfriend.
So the whole season promotion is no longer there, but you can still get the first 4 episodes here for free. I watched some of this on the airplane. It's really good. I think it's pretty subversive in the kind of comedy romance tropes that it does, and the singing and the writing are all really good. So I don't know if you guys have seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
No. And in fact, here's the completely unfair qualifier that I need to hear. Like, it's not canceled yet. It's theoretically up for renewal. There'll be new episodes coming.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, this was a big... I mean, the reason they put this out for free is because they are trying to get an Emmy, I believe, an Emmy nomination.
Ooh.
So if this thing isn't already renewed, I would be surprised, but I don't know one way or the other.
Right on.
Tom, have you seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, or do you know about this?
I have not. No, I haven't.
I really do recommend it. So you can get these 4 episodes for free on iTunes, and then Hulu's got some of the last episodes, and of course you can buy them.
Awesome.
Excellent. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email cordkillers@gmail.com. And Brian, if I may, before we move on,
yeah,
I feel I owe this to Sarah Lane and ComicCon HQ to make it clear to you that when I log in to ComicCon HQ, I do not see ALF anymore on the front page.
Well, then good.
They lead with
yes.
Film HQ, Con Man from Alan Tudyk, Adam Sessler and the Interesting People, Blame It on Science. Second row is all Marvel comics that you can watch, like shows based on Marvel comics. Then you're talking about there's some movies like Manhunter and Open Water, and it goes on.
See, look at that. Now that's a channel I want to sign up for. Now you're talking.
So here's what happened, Brian. You were mad at what I found most interesting. Not about how they were promoting.
I guess basically all of my shouting was like, Tom, you find things interesting different than what I find interesting.
Yeah, no, I think it was more of a very reasonable of, Tom, ALF isn't very good. All right, let's move on to dispatches from the front.
Yes, please. Do we have a ghost I asked for a moment there?
Maybe just a second.
Scott Lewis writes us saying, congratulations, Big Cable, on your phony impressive growth. In this past quarter, we've dumped Uverse at $165 a month for Xfinity for internet and PlayStation View. No phone sales pitch, just online. It was $50 for the internet and with a 20-channel package and 1 non-VR set-top box or more for just internet. His options were to get that or pay more for just internet. The cable box is still on my desk in shrink wrap. Don't want it, won't use it, but I count as a new TV subscriber. Cord killing is not dead yet, he says.
You know, if you didn't have to return that cable box at some point to get your deposit back, I would say just mail it right to Mohu.
Yeah, dude. So crunch it, crush it, squish it, extract the gold.
And then Preston, a.k.a. BioCow, was going to go call Comcast and cancel cable. His wife and he have been paying for cable, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime for a while. And I think when people calculate whether they should switch or not, a lot of them forget to not calculate the things they're already paying for. If you're paying for cable and Netflix, don't count Netflix in the replacement cost because you're already paying for it.
Yep.
And I was actually talking to him this weekend because we were in town for Night Attack Live, and I pointed out that, you know, paying for a few seasons of shows a year, even if you never watch it again, don't worry about owning it. You still come out ahead. Think about it as just a rental at whatever price they're selling it for, $2.99 an episode or whatever. So BioCast says, I did some math. Let's assume you pay $100 a month for cable and 2 cable boxes. That's $1,200 a year you're spending on cable. Looking at Amazon Video, a season of TV shows cost you between $25 and $42. Using the worst case scenario, you could buy 28 full seasons of shows a year for $1,200. If there are 6 shows you just can't live without, and you buy them on Amazon Video at $42 each, that's $252. That means if you cancel cable at $1,200 a year and spend $252 at Amazon on those 6 shows, you end up saving $948 a year. So who cares if you never watch them again?
Yeah, no, that's entirely the math that I did, and that's the reason that the first season of Better Call Saul, before I started messing around with Sling TV, that's how I watched it, and same thing for Walking Dead, and to be honest, Justified happens to be on Amazon Prime, but if it wasn't, I would have just bought it one season at a time.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. He's already paying for Amazon, Hulu, and Netflix, so he doesn't have to add those costs in when he cancels cable. Those are now that's his discovery options, right? Those are where he could just watch things, and the stuff he can't get in those 3, that's where he goes and only needs like 6 big shows a year, maybe. Depends on who you are. I think that's another thing that people don't calculate enough is, are you the kind of person who has to watch everything you want to watch? Like everything I hear about, I want to watch it. Then yeah, cable's still a compelling option. But if you're the kind of person who's like, I just need some entertain, a good selection of entertaining things. If I'm missing out on a few things, it's not the end of the world. You definitely can save money.
Well, and that's the funny part is I would go a step farther and say that cable isn't even for the people who want to watch everything. It's for the people who know they have the option to watch anything. Even though and it's dumb as hell to think of it this way, but it's like there is a dollar value to sitting back knowing I bet Short Circuit 2 is probably on HBO again right now. I could watch it. I don't feel like it, but I'm glad I have that option.
But I'm glad I have access to it.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Where's their ALF? Where's your ALF, HBO?
Dark reboot of ALF on HBO. now I'm in. I'm way in. Hey, folks, you've been hearing about ComicCon HQ and Full Screen and SeeSo and all these crazy things. And we've talked about, are there too many of them? And how many of them do you need? Which one has not been created yet that you would like to see? Which service you're like, what they haven't figured out is I want them to do this service. I want them to provide this kind of video. Let us know, cordkillers@gmail.com.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you so much. We broadcast live every Monday at, the time. What is it?
7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
That's what I was going to say.
It's right there.
At diamondclub.tv. And join us.
Our email is cordkillers@gmail.com. We will see you next week. I still love ALF.
Hey, guys. Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.